What's up, everyone? Welcome back to A's World of Figures. Today, we'll be reviewing one of the biggest figures I have in my collection yet. The one and only Grade 8 Vegeta. But this just isn't any other Grade 8 Vegeta. This is the event exclusive edition from San Diego Comic-Con 2025. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the original Grade 8 Vegeta. That was the general release that came out a couple years ago. So unfortunately, I won't be able to do a comparison. But let's get into what all this Vegeta has. So starting out, we're going to go over the box. But as you can see, this is a massive box. Just for a quick comparison, I do have my Genkai Goku here. And you can see just how massive this box is in reference to a normal size SS Figuarts box. Especially in the Dragon Ball line. Just a huge difference here. But just like any other SS Figuarts box in Dragon Ball line, this is the event exclusive, so you'll see the colors a little bit different. So you'll have the black, but it'll have like the color silhouette of the figures you see here, but you still have the open window, the figure's name over here in display, the accessories over here. Also, at the bottom, you still have all your logos, your official toy animation sticker, let you know this is the real deal, and the Tamashii Nations quality sticker. But if you're not seeing any of these logos, especially the toy animation sticker down here or the quality sticker, you definitely want to make sure it has the Tamashii Nations logo down here and the Bandai logo, Dragon Ball Z. But this is just letting you know this is the real deal, especially having the SS Figuarts logo at the top there. There's been a lot of bootlegs coming up lately, so do want you guys to be careful about that. If the price seems too good, then it probably isn't the real deal. So let's turn this guy around, and you can see still has a really nice silhouette of the figure here. Nice little picture, and it has a really nice cardboard quality to it. I mean, it is cardboard, but the way this box is to house this huge figure, it is of good quality. Like, it's beefy. Still have the logo at the bottom. Still have the SS Figuarts at the top. Rotate this big old box around in the back so you guys can see it. Get in the shot here. So at the top, you still have the logo of the figure, and in the picture over here, you still have like pretty much like a base of the figure. I say base, but pretty much, a static pose of the figure displaying what it can do. Nice figure shots here. Now, I won't go in depth like I always do because I have other videos for that. But you still have your legal information at the bottom, Bandai Namco at the bottom here, big so you can see it. Really nice, and I really do like the way they did the box design here, especially with the colors. On the side, you have some more art. The logo itself too. I just really like the print. Flip it around again. I'm going to show the top of the box. You have the SS Figuarts logo again, with their typical information, and a clear window so you can see the figure and the accessories in the box. And we'll flip this guy around at the bottom, and you have yet some more art and the logo of the figure. Of course, you get a good little shot of the figure. Just really nice. And like always, I like how the art of these boxes is, no matter how small or big. You can pretty much set this guy up however you like. Like I said, book style, like so. Have it front facing, or you can even lay it down on your shelf and have it sitting just like this and stack more boxes on top of it. So it's just a lot of range for collectors. But now let's get the clamshell out of this ginormous box, and let's take a closer look at the accessories. So let me get that out, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Have the clamshell out of that ginormous box. So, quick thing. As you can see here, I'm going to do the best I can with the clamshells and my camera space. There are two. I will show that off as well. But, quick note. The original Grade 8 Vegeta, from what I looked up, it came with, of course, the Vegeta here. The tail accessory, the little tail knob here, and it used to come with, and it probably would have been here somewhere in the plastic, but it came with an additional set of hands that had like a little Goku figure inside of it, like Vegeta was crushing him, and a little Yajirobe simulating him cutting off his tail, which is why this little tail is here. Now, what sucks is that those two important accessories are not included in this figure package. Why? I do not know. Other fans have asked this same question. Why is it not in there? Now, what's even more crazy, and I'll do a quick little touch on this, and I'll move on to pretty much the contents of this current package. But for the price that this guy went was $220 before tax, and I did get him for retail because I pre-ordered him on P Bandai when he was there. But the original Grade 8, it went for, if I remember correctly, and I'll put that up on the top screen there because I'm just going off my head, but it was for $180. Now, of course, like GameStop back then had a couple of sales where it was marked down. You could find it for even like $140. Now, this was 2018 when all this is going down. Now, fast forward to nowadays, of course, that same Vegeta is about almost $400. It can range between $300 to $400 depending on whoever's selling it, but just gonna give you guys a rough estimate of how much that figure is costing to get them nowadays. Now, compared to that, it is pretty hard to decide which one you want price wise, because this guy is going for around the same price for less accessories, and I'll get into sort of why that is later in the video too. But it just sucks that when we get an exclusive, sometimes they take away and don't add anything in return for that. But back on track with the video, I just want to touch on that real quick. If you guys already had the original, you're wondering, there's a lot of empty space compared to the other one, but you still get your two fists here at the bottom, your pointing finger like he was pointing at Goku. You have your additional faceplate here that has the damaged right eye in it. And like I mentioned before, the cut tail here. And let me separate it because it does come in two sections. And on the second clamp gel part here, you guys can see it came with a stand and a base. Now, the original one had a black base and stand. Now, from what I noticed, and I did look at all this to make sure everything was good, my stuff wasn't broken, but I had to return. I was like, return it, but contact Bandai, like, hey, my stuff messed up. But anyhow, on the stand here, it's very strange because they had the potential to add those accessories back into this package because they're pretty much using the same molds. Everything's the exact same. And I thought to myself, I was like, okay, maybe the base stand here is molded different. It still has the slot for the Yajirobe attachment. So if you have both Great 8 Vegetas, you can, of course, interchange the parts around. So that is good to know. If you don't want to use the black one, if you have the original and the exclusive one like I have, you can use the tan base and stand up here, support, called support, with the Yajirobe. So that's good to know. Also, and I need to start showing these instructions a little bit more in my videos. A lot of times they be in the box, and I don't like opening up my box tabs all the way. I'm just one of those collectors. But it does come with a really nice set of instructions, letting you know how all this stuff works for this big guy. Now, it's just one sheet of paper, but this one sheet of paper does get straight to the point, so that is good to know. But not much for the price, as you guys can see. Get it in the shot here. Like I said, just the figure, the main tail, the additional little tail piece here that's been cut, simulated by Yajirobe cutting it off. You have your additional fists here, like I mentioned before, and the pointing hand, and base stand over here. Let's get that back in the shot just a little bit. Yeah, not much for $220, but this is big, and I'll get into more in depth of the details later in this video. But that's pretty much it, guys. Pretty much it. So now that we have that all out the way, let's get into my favorite part of making these videos, the details of the figures. So let me get the clamshells out of the way, get my camera reset because this is a big guy and I want to go over the details. Alrighty, got Vegeta back out here once again. So the first thing I want to touch on is pretty much his suit color. So on the original, it's more of a darker blue than this lighter blue color. Now I will say, and this is just my opinion, I do like the event exclusive coloring than the original. It has more of a vibrant touch to it. Another thing that I want to point out, and you're probably seeing it in the shot yourself, but on the event exclusive, there is a there is a bit of shading going on in the muscles, as you guys can see here. It's very subtle, but it is there. Because the original did not, it was just straight up plastic. You got a lot of it going on here, a lot of it going on the sides of the arms here. It's really nicely done. And I will say, I mean, I get why they didn't do it on the other one, because they were trying to save cost on the original, especially with it being a general release. And with this being event exclusive, there is a little bit of extra care going on. It's hard to say when it's being Tamashii Nations or pretty much just Bandai in general. They're trying to cheap out on these figures. But anyhow, as you guys can see, the look of this guy is really accurate when it comes to how great Vegeta was in the Saiyan arc. You can see he has the scratches on his armor. I do wish, since they took the time to pretty much shade his muscles in, I wish they could have painted in where his muscle tears are on the suit. So you can at least see, like, they could have painted this in brown. It could have been a lot more done to this, especially for the $220 that this guy went for. As always, I apologize for the train in the background. I live near a train station. But there's a lot of details regardless of the lack of paint on this guy, because he's just straight up plastic. But regardless, I do like it. The head and the face sculpts, the mouth, all of this is really nicely painted. Let me get a close in, and you can move the mouth. You guys can see here. We'll get into articulation here soon. The teeth are nicely painted. The mouth inside, all that, it's all nice and premium. The eyes are all nice. You can actually see a little bit of the black panel lining that's going on here. You see that real nice and clear. I like the way the fur is. Now, I will say, it seems like there is a bit of a matte finish going on in the armor, so it's not like a glossy finish to it. Now, the suit itself is pretty glossy. There is a little bit of matte finish on it. As you can see, some parts are pretty flat, other parts are pretty shiny. You see in my lighting. On the back here, I dropped this heavy guy. This guy's heavy. The tail, no paint at all, just brown plastic. On the back, you can see there's also no shading except for the muscles here on the legs and the arms. Other than that, I really like the design. It's very simplistic, but it got the job done. To get this guy in the shot here. I like what they did with the change of coloring compared to the other one. It does kind of, I say kind of, but to me it does reflect the anime a lot better than the original does. Not sure where they got the colors from for the original. I even looked around, like, in the mind. I was like, am I tripping? I'm not sure. I guess they were just trying something back then with the color, with the plastic. Not sure. But overall, design, the details, the little bit of shading that's there, I appreciate it. Yes, a lot more could have been done as far as coloring in the paint in the cuts and things like that. Now, of course, you have, you know, people who can customize this guy and pretty much make him perfected. I don't have that capability, but for what I pay for, you know, I'm actually satisfied. And I will admit, when I first got this guy and I got him out of the box, he was a little underwhelming at first. But as time grew on, you know, I started playing with them, started actually messing around with them. I was like, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought, but I am a little disappointed that I didn't get the extra parts for the price that I paid. Because I always wanted the original Great Ape Vegeta, but couldn't. I was just not trying to pay the money that's been asked for him now. I just hate that it's missing Yajirobe and the Goku. That was a very key moment. It's like, why would you include the cut tail part and not have those two pieces in there? But anyhow, rant over. Next part, I'll get this guy a little more situated for the camera, and I want to go into the articulation. So let me get that set up and be right back. Okay, so I got my shot adjusted just a tad so I can handle this guy a little better because he is heavy and thick. He's a thick boy right here. Anyhow, let's go over articulation. Let's see how good the articulation is for this big honking piece of plastic here. As you guys can hear, he does have ratcheting joints, and they don't feel like they're going to break anything like that. But first things first, let's check out his arm articulation. So let me get him just a little bit closer so you guys can see. And his arm does go up pretty good for his size, even with the armor being in place. And you can move this out of the way somewhat. Raise it up a little bit. It does have some butterfly joints, butterfly swivel in there so that you can get a little bit extra range. On his right arm, same thing. And he can pretty much do, God, it's a big guy. Not used to doing such big figures in my setup at least. But yeah, T-pose wise, not too bad, especially how freaking big this guy is. Not bad at all, especially with the arm pieces being able to be moved around too. I like they incorporated that. Can you do a full 360 with the arm? Yes, you can. Just be mindful of the armor. Just make sure you move that out of the way when you're rotating in a full 360. Same thing with the right arm here. Now the right arm will be a little bit easier because they molded this one where his armor is broken off like it was in the anime. And he does have some bicep rotation. Let me make sure he actually does before I break my own. Let's see here. Let me properly grab this guy. Let's see. Does he have this rotation? He does a little bit, but it only goes so far. You guys can see. I don't want to force it and break this guy. He's so hard to get, especially for a decent price. Get back in. And the shoulders you can move up and down pretty good, so you can get some pretty good range for the arms. Let's see on the right arm. Hold his shoulder. This figure's pretty tight. I don't really move him too much. It's so heavy. Let's see. Yeah, it'll somewhat rotate, but it does have a spot where it stops. So you can get about 180 degrees of rotation before it stops. You gotta turn it back, pretty much turn it back around. Let's see. How far can his bicep go to his forearm? Say bicep, but forearm go to his bicep. See, because he does have some double elbow joints here, and actually pretty good. Sorry if it's pretty bad in the shot. Really not used to filming such a huge figure, so I'm doing my best here. Pretty decent over here too. Now the scope does stop it from going, all the way in because it's gloves. That is hard plastic. Rotate it back down. So it's pretty decent for what the size is. Now let's see about the legs right quick. Can you do full splits? Be something to see such a huge figure do splits. No, he can't. Get stopped right there. But for me, jeez. But for me, that's actually pretty good for how bulky this guy is. Especially the way the joints are designed. You can move his leg up that far. This is right leg. And because the way the butt is sculpted, it does get stopped in right there. So he can't really come in that far. Give you guys a better shot here. There we go. And I really do appreciate they didn't cheap out on the joints, because it needs the extra engineering to keep this guy standing up straight. Because you actually can stand him up, you know, without the base and stand. If you balance him pretty good, you can stand up pretty good. Let's see, any waist rotation? No, not at all. There is a little bit of upper torso swivel left and right, a little bit of up and down. Now, he does have some swivel at the bottom of his waist. So I see it's a little floppy. I do wish that this was engineered a little bit better, because a lot of times I'm handling them, it just kind of flops forward like that. And it makes me nervous because the amount of weight the upper torso is, it makes me feel like this whole upper side, upper part will pretty much just break off. But it doesn't. But do be careful and just make sure you're handling him firmly, I'll say that, and with confidence. So back at the top, the armor pieces do move a little bit. There's a little bit of rotation with them. They are on a little ball swivel. We want to show that a little bit better. There is a little bit of ball joint to a swivel. Let me get the camera in there, so you can get a little bit of rotation. Think of the joint that I'm describing as like the Goku with his sleeves. They kind of engineered it that way. The camera in there is right there. So not too bad with the engineering. But head rotation, can't do a full 360. Oh no, you can. Oh, now to pop this head off. First time I did that. I mean, you can get away with the 360, but do be careful and not do what I just did, because the armor is kind of stopping a little bit. That's why mine kind of popped off. Get this back in rotation. I like getting mine angled up pretty good. There we go. This head back on. Thankfully, it's not too bad. It's just a huge neck peg here. Let me get my camera focused. You guys can see. As you can see, it's just a huge neck peg. And the head itself just has like pretty much a socket. You just pop it back in. Oh, there we go, just like that. So if you do pop this guy's head off on accident, don't fear. Now, as far as his mouth, it does have some articulation with the mouth, and you can pretty much move it up and down, kind of simulate he's talking. Take his front mouth off. There we go. And it is very creepy taking it off, and the way this is engineered, you can swap out the face like so. And the original is pretty much built off the same engineering as the original, so I don't think they changed anything with this head sculpt here. Really nice. Doesn't impede any articulation or anything like that. Still can look left and right. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Up and down with the neck rotation. The neck joint and articulation is actually pretty good, as you guys can see here. Now, if you're looking up all the way, it does create a little bit of gap, but not too bad. Turn this guy around so you guys can see he does have a swivel joint here for the tail. And the tail here is just, it's a static tail. Doesn't have any bendiness into it or anything like that. Simply just pop it in the socket, and then there you go. You can rotate in a full 360 here, and you can move this swivel joint here pretty much in a full 360, and then get the swivel in any rotation you want, like so. So you can get some pretty nice angles, even though the tail itself is static. Onto the hands. Although this guy is ginormous, he still has those typical Dragon Ball SS Figuarts wrist joints. You still can rotate in a full 360 like so, left and right, up and down, especially if you pop off the wrist. You can see it's pretty much a oversized wrist peg, pretty much. Just think of this guy as being like a regular Dragon Ball SS Figuarts, but everything is just oversized. Downward to the legs even further. He has a double knee joint with a ratchet, and he can pretty much put his calf all the way into the back of his thigh that far. Same thing for the left leg, as you guys see here. Foot swivel, not too bad. He can actually put his feet down that far. We come in. Also, the swivel the foot joint does have some ratcheting in it too. That just helps stabilize this ginormous figure. Locks it in place. And he does have some side to side. No, he doesn't. I thought he did. No, he does. It's just ratcheting. Mine is just so tight. So, what I was saying was he does have some side to side swivel so you can angle the foot properly. You guys can hear it. So you can go up and down and in and out. Same thing for the other foot. But do be gentle. You know, if it feel like it's having too much resistance to it, do add a little bit of oil. But that's pretty much it for articulation, guys. So there isn't really too much to this figure. It's just huge. I wish there was more, but let's get into my final thoughts of this guy and let's wrap this video up. Alright guys, so as far as my final thoughts for this figure, it's actually really good. I do appreciate that they did a more of a vibrant color palette with this guy compared to the dark blue, just like that. Pretty much my old battle style clothes Vegeta here, and I do have him out just for a quick, side by side comparison. Like, look how huge this Great Ape Vegeta is, and the original is pretty much the exact same size, but just to show you just how massive this guy is. Now, shows you the box, but yeah, he's freaking huge. But anyhow, I do appreciate how it has a little bit of extra shading going on through the muscles. I do wish that they just went ahead and painted in what the tears in the suit is and the armor. You've pretty much shown us that you can do it. Just go the extra mile. We'll pay for it, as long as it's not like an astronomical price. But we'll pay for it. We're collectors. But I am disappointed that they didn't include the Yajirobe piece and the original Goku crushing the hands piece. That was so disappointing to me, and I will say, even if I knew it wasn't in the box, and I was a little iffy about this purchase, I will admit that, but time grew on me. I was like, okay, I actually appreciate this figure a lot more, even though it's missing those key pieces. Like, I like the color change, the shading, I like the art style. Everything about this guy, quality-wise, is still really good. It still has its issues that the original had that they could have fixed with this one, but all they did was do the same mold. But other than that, this has got to be a solid 8 out of 10 figure for me. It's the biggest in my collection, but if you take away that, it's still expensive, but unfortunately on the secondhand market, it's even more expensive. So I will say, if you're able to get this guy, you can afford him, get the original. But if you find this guy for an even cheaper price, I don't feel like you're going to find him pretty much close to retail. But I feel like if you find this guy cheaper than the original, then you kind of weigh out your budget there. Like, okay, if I spend another $50 to $100 getting the original one, do I do that, or do I just buy this one? I'll leave it up to you. I got what I can afford, because I can't afford the original. That was way out of budget. But just let you know, this is a good figure, regardless of what you choose, regardless of the pieces missing. And I want to leave it at that. But I do appreciate it if you watched all the way to the end of the video. Also, please like and subscribe. Like, I am trying to do a lot better in giving you guys videos. First of all, I love doing these reviews for you guys. Not only, for you guys, but this is something I like doing. Like, I am very passionate about my collection. I like sharing, what I've gone through to get these figures, and a little bit of, my knowledge that I've pretty much acquired all these years and sharing it with you guys, and then also learning from you guys as well, because I'm still new to all this myself. But regardless of me being new, I've acquired a very huge collection in Dragon Ball and other lines inside of that. But just want to say thank you. But stay tuned for my poses, and also I want to mention again that I do have a Discord server that I set up. So if you would like to join that server, I do have the link in the description. So feel free to stop by. Again, like I mentioned in my previous videos, that server is just for us to have a safe spot to discuss figures, anything that's upcoming, anything that's been pretty much like news, I guess you can say, or anything you guys might have in your collection that you want me to review that you probably haven't seen me do. But anyhow, just want to touch bases with that real quick, but I won't hold you guys any longer. So until the next time, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Y'all take care.